the Firms Week, will be distributed to the accounting firms in your state that are members of CollegeFrog. You'll be getting a confirmation email from us on that as well. So that's really exciting. Hopefully everybody finds some wonderful career opportunities from that. Why is today important? So today is a really fun webinar with our friends at UHY in Texas, Yvonne Harris and Kelly. We'll tell you about Yvonne in just a moment. But today's important because we're going to have a candid conversation about your career search. And we're going to be talking about some advice that Yvonne has seen over her career that will be very, very helpful to you. So the CollegeFrog Career Coach is a new feature that CollegeFrog is going to offer in partnership with UHY and with Yvonne Harris. And so what this is going to be we want CollegeFrog to be your coach. And we want Yvonne to help coach you through the career search. This is sponsored by UHY. So UHY is a top 20 national public accounting firm. UHY is always looking for top talent with an entrepreneurial spirit. So if you like what you learn about UHY, please be sure to check more out at their website. We'll send you that in a moment. And Yvonne Harris sits in Houston, Texas, and she is the Director of HR with UHY. So Yvonne has a background as an accountant. She'll tell you a little bit about her background, but also is in HR now and has been with a Big Four firm and now with a large mid-market firm. So it's really important that you ask questions today. I want you to leave this session with tips and next steps on how to get that internship or get that job. So we hope you'll use your question box on your control panel to ask questions. Let's give that a try real quick, and you know what I'm going to do if you've already been on some of these webinars, but I want to see what colleges you guys are from. So I'm going to read these off, Yvonne. We've got Washington State, Wayne State, Binghamton, Hofstra, Texas A&M, San Antonio, University of Maryland, University of Colorado at Boulder, School of Hard Knocks. Hope you get your PhD. Northeastern, University of Hawaii, welcome. Emory University in Atlanta. Mumbai University in India. University of Miami. Thunderbird, Wayne State, Vry, Walsh. This is exciting seeing all this pop in. So Yvonne and team in Houston, you guys can probably see these coming in. So it looks like the Q&A works. So let's get going. Yvonne Harris, CollegeFrog Career Coach, we thank you for your time. We're excited that you're here, and I can't wait to hear what you're going to talk about today. So it's all yours.
Good afternoon, everyone. UHY is really excited about being the Career Coach sponsor in partnership with CollegeFrog. Again, my name is Yvonne Harris, and I'm joined today by my senior campus recruiter, Kelly Ruddleson, and also my experience recruiting manager, Elizabeth Bardeman. And again, we're really excited for this opportunity. And we hope that you will walk away with some learning points that will help you with your career search. So we will start the presentation. Okay, the agenda for this afternoon's call.
Hey, Yvonne.
Jeff, I'm hearing feedback.
Yep. On your control panel, click the telephone button under audio. So there's a plus sign that says audio. Click that, and click telephone. All right, are there any other computers in your office that are signed in?
Yeah.
Okay. So make sure that anybody who signed in clicks that audio button and clicks telephone. And then everybody who's on a computer, mute their computer as well. Sorry, everybody. This happens 1 out of 3 presentations with GoToWebinar, so bear with us 1 second. All right. Okay.
Jeff, is this better?
I think we're good to go. If it happens again, I'll just jump back in, but I think we're good to go. Thanks, Yvonne.
Okay, thank you. Obviously, we're going to go through the purpose of the presentation. We're going to review ground rules for the call. We're going to talk about the journey of the job search, creating a winning resume, acing the interview, the small things may not be so small, next steps, and then we will wrap up and hopefully have a lot of hearty question and answers at the end. So the purpose of today's webinar is to position you, the members of CollegeFrog community, to have a competitive advantage in the job search by providing the inside scoop on the recruitment process from a recruiter's perspective. So in this room here today, we have over 30 years of recruitment experience. So we really want you guys to feel very comfortable asking questions that maybe you don't have anyone in your network to ask that will position you to feel more confident as you pursue your job search. So the ground rules are to use the webinar question and answer function that Jeff covered at the top of the call, and you can use it throughout the presentation. I do have a caveat here. Our team here is working to answer questions as we go along, so you can send the question over whenever you would like, but primarily focused on giving answers over the webinar for questions that may have a connection point to many callers. So if there's something specific about your job search or maybe a very specific question, we will still respond to those, but do so in writing and not over the call. And remember that there are no silly questions, so we encourage you just to ask away. And you can ask as many questions as you would like. Participants on this call will also have a very unique opportunity at the end of the call, a little teaser there. So we encourage you to stay on for the entire time if indeed your schedule allows, but we did just want to let you know that there's a very special value add for those of you that hang in there for the entirety of the call. Okay, Jeff, we're going to go to our first survey question for the participants. And this question is, where are you in your job search?
All right, if you can read the answers, I'm going to launch that poll right now. And so if you're on the webinar, you should be able to see these questions. There we go. And you guys can actually select the questions. I don't know where to start. I'm still researching my options. I'm going through on-campus interviews, or I'm already starting office visits. So Yvonne and Kelly would like to know where you are in the process. We kind of can guide the presentation. So Yvonne, are you able to see the results?
I don't know where to start, and I'm already employed.
Yeah, we're seeing some of them come through.
Oh, cool. So there's about 70% of the audience has already voted, but it's pretty obvious that 58% right now, so the largest group is saying I'm still researching my options. And with I don't know where to start and I'm starting office visits, kind of the second and third biggest chunk. So great. So Yvonne, I'm going to go ahead and close down the this first poll, but the really by a landslide, I'm still researching my options. So hopefully that helps. If you want to comment on that, go ahead.
Absolutely. So there are a lot of pointers here in this presentation that will help you regardless of where you are in the job search, and also to recognizing that while you may be further along in this particular job search, there's advice and tips in this presentation that may help you if you need to shift gears or in a future job search, so that we hope that you'll continue to stay engaged no matter where you are in the process. Okay, so why don't we just take a moment and just start at the very beginning, and simple question of what do you want to do when you grow up? And it may sound a little cliche, but Obviously, this is a question that many of us will ask at different seasons in our life, and for those of you participating on this call, it's something that's very important to you right now in terms of trying to decide what it is that you want to do, at least as a starting point for your career. So we want to just spend a moment talking about resources that can help you as you start this journey of your job search. First and foremost, we encourage you to leverage mentors. So faculty advisors, maybe people that you've interned with or worked with before, they should be able to give you some insight, give you some guidance on, for example, how they made their decision, what are some things that they considered. And for those people that are very close to you in your network, they can also help assess your talents, your strengths, your opportunities, and maybe give some insight on the career approach that you should take. If we're going to start at the very beginning, assuming that there may be a few people on the call and you're an accounting major, you've been focused on accounting, but maybe you're still just not sure. One resource that we recommend would be the utilization of a personality or career assessments. Actually, there's never a bad time to do this in your career, but if you're just not sure, regardless of where you are in your accounting career, if you need to take a moment and say, is this really what I want to do, there are tools and assessments available that can help you align your strengths and talents to career opportunities. I mentioned at the top of this slide leveraging your faculty advisors, your professors, deans, chairs in your department. They should be a resource for you. And don't underestimate the ability of a partnership with or to partner with your career services resources. Many of you from the colleges that we saw at the very beginning, I'm sure you have a pretty robust career services team or department, and they should be able to assist you and provide you with resources and research tools as you are looking and progressing through your job search. And then don't underestimate the power of your network and telling everyone that you're looking for a job and what you're looking for. The more people that you have out there advocating for you, looking out for things for you, a very unique opportunity may simply come up just because you were letting people in your network know that you were looking for a job and indeed what you were looking for. So assuming that you are looking for a career in accounting, we're going to talk through just some coaching and some guidance for that point of focus. And Jeff, we have another survey question now. And this survey question relates to areas of focus. So whether you're looking at public accounting versus private industry, within public, Big Four versus middle market, or middle market versus smaller firm. Jeff, can we run that survey?
We're running it right now, and so about a third of the audience has answered, but so far it's predominantly they're more interested in talking about Big Four versus the mid-market than the other two. Yvonne, can you see the results on your end?
No. Can you let us know when the survey closes?
You bet. Yep. So if you're wondering about the question you haven't answered yet, but what's the most interesting topic here? Big Four versus mid-market, private versus public, or mid versus small firm. Well, we've reached about 80% of the candidates on the poll or have answered the poll. So Yvonne, it's about a third are interested in public versus private industry.
Okay.
42% are interested in Big Four versus mid-market, which is the largest group, and then the smallest group is mid-market versus small firms. So definitely more interest in learning more about Big Four versus mid-market.
Great. Thanks for everyone for participating on that call. So let's just go through the job search journey for private industry, and this will impact about a third of the callers. So again, just from a recruiter's perspective, for those of you considering private industry, our advice is to potentially focus on 1 to 2 industries. Obviously, I mean, there's so many corporations that you could potentially choose from, but do your research. Is it healthcare, for example, that you're interested in, manufacturing, oil and gas? But that just may help to narrow your search and give you an opportunity to set a scope and parameters for what it is that you're interested in and where you will focus. As it relates to geographic preference, for private industry, this one's a little bit more difficult than public accounting, in that depending on your particular industry of focus, there may be particular parts of the country that you would need to be willing to move to. So for example, you know, being here in Houston, if you were interested in oil and gas, well, it may be that you live in the Midwest, but you have this industry interest. Are you then interested in relocating to Texas, to potentially Houston or Dallas? So if the answer to that is not sure, then it may be that oil and gas may not be in one of your top 2 choices. And if you're in the Midwest and potentially want to stay there, it may be more of a private industry that supports manufacturing or consumer goods. If you're also focused in private industry, keep in mind departmental differences. So although many of you obviously on the call are accounting majors, as you're interviewing for opportunities in private industry, do you want to go into, example, cost accounting? Do you want to go into a role in financial reporting? You need to make sure that you understand the differences for the companies that you target, and make sure that you align with your particular interest. Also keep in mind too that in private industry, obviously the CPA certification is valued no matter where you go, but there are also other certifications that you may want to research. CMA, for example, as one example in terms of what type of certification you would want to choose if you indeed decide to go the private industry route. And then the last point I'll make about private industry is that keep in mind that the companies that you may target may not visit your school for campus office or campus interviews. And if that is indeed the case, then it's going to take a little bit more research, legwork, and networking on your end to make sure that you are in queue and connected with a recruiter for the companies that you're targeting, so that you are in queue for an office visit. Okay, let's talk about the Big Four. And I want to thank everyone for the questions. We really appreciate them, and we're working to answer many of them in writing right now. So for those of you that are doing a job search within the Big Four, it's imperative that you know your department or line of service interest. So stated very simply, are you focused in audit? Are you focused on tax, internal audit, etc.? You need to be able to clearly articulate to the recruiter what your line of service interest is. For those of you with a particular geographic preference, for example, Phoenix, Arizona, the Big Four does offer the greatest flexibility for you to choose the market that you want to go to. So let's just say you went away out of state for school, but you really like to go back home. In your hometown, your home city, research which of the Big Four firms have a presence. And also, too, when they come to your campus, make sure that you articulate your geographic preference with that recruiter. I would say you'd want to have a very strong first choice, possibly a second choice, but I think the communication of your first choice is imperative. Understand the competitive landscape. So I touched on that a little bit, and knowing where you want to go and understanding which of the Big Four are in that particular market. For those of you that are pursuing a full-time job search and maybe you did not intern within the Big Four, keep in mind that many of the offices have had internship programs and may have a number of full-time hires in queue through their internship program. So understand that going into your job search, and know that if you didn't intern in Big Four in the particular marketplace where you're looking for full-time opportunity, it's really important to connect very early on with that recruiter so that you can understand if there are indeed full-time opportunities still available after all of their internship accepts. For those of you that have already started the process with the Big Four, I think you understand the last bullet point. There are a number of campus events that the Big Four will host at various campuses, bringing a large number of their employees and partners to those campuses, a great opportunity for you to network and get to know the people and the culture of the firm. They also have, obviously, on-campus interviews. And again, going back to that point of establishing your geographic preference, in that interview, it's imperative that you are stating to the recruiter what the geographic preference is that you have, and also, too, in your follow-up, seeing if you can get local contact information for a recruiter in a particular city. Because keep in mind, not all of the geographies will be represented in your campus interviews. So you just want to make sure that you have a local contact so that you can continue to follow up after campus interviews. And then there's the office visit process, a great opportunity for you to meet representatives not only from the national level, which you did in your campus interviews, but for the local office so that you can make a very informed decision about whether or not you want to join a particular firm in a particular city. And keep in mind that every firm and the personality of every firm can be different in different locations. For those of you targeting middle market, similar rules apply. Just knowing, obviously, your service line of interest and communicating that early on in the process. There is an opportunity to have a geographic preference, but many of you that are targeting middle market, this may be an opportunity for those of you that don't have a particular city in mind, but there's a particular firm that you would like to join. You have the opportunity then to consider relocation opportunities as well with the middle market. Within the middle market, with the training opportunities, also too with the on-the-job training opportunities, a great benefit to joining middle market is the opportunity to have an industry preference. So, for example, if you are interested in coming to, I'll use Texas again as an example, you're very interested in oil and gas, but don't really want to go private industry. Well, an opportunity to come and work for firms here in Houston or Dallas that spend a lot of time on oil and gas accounting. The middle market firm recruitment process is very similar to that of the Big Four in terms of campus events, on-campus interviews, and office visits. And the same rules that we covered with the Big Four would apply here for the middle market as well. Let's switch gears and talk about those of you that are interested in smaller firms. First bullet is the same in terms of understanding audit versus tax. Geographic preference, for this one, the advice of the recruiters is that if you're interested in a smaller firm, it would be helpful to have a geographic preference and then just researching those firms in that particular area. So If you are interested in moving back to or staying in Tacoma, Washington, for example, then I would recommend, or we would recommend, researching smaller firms that are available in the Tacoma area and targeting those particular firms. An opportunity for industry preference, and many smaller firms have niche markets or client groups that they service. So that would be a great plus for working for a smaller firm. Smaller firms, depending on your location preference, may not come to your particular campus. So the interview process, the networking process with a smaller firm will be different in that it will require more legwork on your end in terms of making that connection with the firm, either via LinkedIn, sending your resume, applying online, getting recruiter contacts, emailing the recruiter, and most of that recruitment process will probably happen in the form of office visits. Okay, the journey continues. So we covered private industry, Big Four, middle market, and the smaller firms. And from the recruiter perspective, regardless of your area of focus, we just want to make sure that everyone on this call understands the demands of the job search, particularly your search. There is a lot of time that must be invested for a job search. And for many of you, balancing that with full-time school loads and potentially work schedules as well, it's definitely a time that you need to be organized, and you need to make sure that your job search aligns with the time that you are able to invest. We encourage you to enlist the help, again, of trusted friends and faculty as it relates to networking, as it relates to creative support, help with organization as you go through this search. We encourage you to have a job search partner. So you may ask, well, what is that? Maybe you have a peer or a colleague who's also going through this process with you at the same time. Why not become accountability partners and making sure that you have someone that's holding you accountable for, for all the aspects of your job search. So sending out your resume on time, following up with recruiters as appropriate, doing the research, and we'll go through some research tools later in the presentation. You just need someone as you go through this process to help keep you on track. And then the next point relates to a job search coach. And this is someone who probably serves more in that mentorship role that you can reach out to and potentially get help. You're about to go on an office visit and you just want to practice some interview questions, or maybe, congratulations, you received your offer and you just want to go through aspects of your decision-making process. Enlist the help of someone in your network to serve as a coach, and then do your research. If you want to stand out, if you really want to make an impact with a recruiter, regardless of what industries or organizations you're targeting, make sure that you understand as much as you can about the particular industry and about the firm and about the geographic location as you can, because that sets you apart in ways that you can converse and ask questions and engage a recruiter on a very different level than maybe a peer of yours that's not investing that same time on research. Many of you on the call have probably heard of the concept of an elevator speech. And for those of you that haven't, it's the very simple question of what is an elevator speech. And again, as advice from recruiters, this is just a very quick, I'll use the word blurb, about yourself. that you practice and that you utilize and that you could potentially use as an introduction for yourself at career fairs, at some networking events, and just a way for you to kind of break the ice as you're meeting with recruiters for the first time, and then giving yourself a safe space to have a message that you're comfortable with, that you're confident about, that you've practiced, and that should help you to engage in further conversation. So an example of an elevator speech, just off the top of my head. Hi, I'm Jeff Phillips. I'm a fourth-year accounting major from State University. I've had 2 internships in public accounting, and I'm currently seeking full-time opportunities within a middle market firm. I have a 3.3 major and overall GPA, and I've started to prepare for the CPA exam while serving as captain of State University's baseball team. I've researched your firm, and I'd love to find out more about full-time opportunities. So I wasn't timing myself there, but I think maybe that took all of 15 to 17 seconds. But imagine now student Jeff Phillips going up to the recruiter, shaking his or her hand, having that elevator speech, and it's almost having the hook. The recruiter is now engaged, knows a little bit about Jeff, knows how to guide the conversation, and the ice has been broken, and now there's engagement in the conversation and discussion about opportunities with that firm. And here's where your career coach or your career partner can come into play as you're practicing your elevator speech. I know many of you on the call are probably very well versed in all aspects of social media, and I just want to reinforce the importance of maximizing social media for your job search. Obviously, for those of you in the CollegeFrog community, you know the benefits of having joined CollegeFrog and the tools available through CollegeFrog in terms of researching particular firms and career opportunities. So we thank CollegeFrog for being a tool for your job search. And then there's some others that are mentioned here on the slide. For example, LinkedIn, and I'll also reference Facebook as well. Many of the recruiters that you will be connecting with are on LinkedIn. Many of the companies, the firms have LinkedIn pages, job postings on LinkedIn. Many of the firms, too, have Facebook pages, a very interesting way to connect with the firms. And also, that's where the firms show a little bit more of their culture and personality, so you can use Facebook as well. And then I'll say, particularly with CollegeFrog and LinkedIn and also some of the other job boards out there, they're great research tools. You know, obviously CollegeFrog is hosting a series of webinars that help with the job search. And then, you know, other sites have surveys and quick job tips, quick interview tips. There's just so much information out there. I caution you, though, not to go into information overload. You know, there's always going to be a new survey. There's always going to be a new interview tip, but you would be remiss not to leverage the tools through your job search to make sure that you have the latest information, in particular about the firms and the industries that you're targeting. Jeff, we have another survey question, and this one deals with resume. And just want to poll the listeners on the appropriate length of your resume.
Yvonne, is this a trick question?
No, it's not. So what is?
80. We've got everybody coming in. About 70% are through. I'm actually. I figured out how to share the results earlier, so I'm going to share this with you. But 81% of the answers so far are in line with what I was going to guess, which is 1 page. But 20% are saying 2 page. No one is out there on an island trying to advocate the 3-page resume, unfortunately. So I'm going to, here's your answers right here. I'm sure you can see that, Yvonne.
I do. And I guess it may be a little bit of a trick question. The appropriate answer is that you can have 1 page of resume for every 10 years of experience. Okay, so for many on this call, the 1-page resume is the appropriate length of your resume. And then obviously with the more experience you gain, then it's expected that your resume will grow in length. So again, it's 1 page for every 10 years experience. Creating a winning resume. The first comment, it may actually seem a little comical, but again, just some feedback from recruiters. We do get resumes that don't have contact information. So you could be a great candidate, but if we really don't know how to get in touch with you, it's not helping your cause or the cause of the firm. So just remember to have your contact information, your email address, and preferred phone number. We do suggest having a very clear and concise career objective. And on this career objective, make sure that if you are looking at maybe private industry versus public accounting or Big Four versus middle market, that your career objective is either broad enough to encompass both, or you need to have 2 versions of your resume, one that cites a career objective that's geared towards, for example, private industry, and one that's geared towards public accounting. Okay, we do pay attention to that. So I'll just say personally, if I were to receive a resume and it stated that the candidate was had a career objective of a long-term career in private industry, I would question why I was getting the resume. You want to list both overall and major GPAs on your resume. And as you're building out your resume, any work experience, you're starting with current and working your way backwards. You want to make sure that you include special awards, community service, and special projects. But very quickly, we want to make sure that you don't include any information that may not be adding value to your career search, and we're going to talk about that actually on the next slide. And then cover letters. Are they a thing of the past? And the answer there is no. A cover letter is actually a great opportunity for you to expand upon a particular experience that you've had that you may not be able to encompass in your resume. So for those of you that are applying for jobs online and there is the option to upload a cover letter, we do encourage you to do that. Again, it may just be a tool or an avenue for you to share more information about yourself with the recruiter and to set yourself apart in the job search. Sorry about that, I went a little too far. So creating a winning resume, some resume don'ts. There should be no pictures or personal information on your resume. The second bullet, no typos. We actually should have probably put this in larger font. There should be no typos, no misspelled words, no grammatical errors in your resume. This is that document that you're presenting to a recruiter that says, I want you to hire me. And this is one document where I would say there's no room for error. There's no room for mistakes. And this is an opportunity, if you want to go back to some previous slides in this presentation, where your resume, you should have that reviewed by your career coach. You should have that reviewed by your job search partner. Have a faculty member look at it. It never hurts to have multiple people looking at your resume And it's actually a great way to even fine-tune your resume. I found that in sharing your resume, there's actually someone that may think of something else that you should add to make you stand out. And this document, you should have all of those touch points in terms of review. From a recruiter's perspective, we don't advise that you list hobbies. It's just not appropriate, not a value add to your resume. Obviously, it's something that you can touch upon if asked the question, for example, in an interview, maybe a group office visit, et cetera, but doesn't need to be brought up in an interview or on your resume, excuse me. And then we do encourage that you still have hard copies of your resume that you take to interviews, particularly on-campus interviews, and then also group office visits. But again, from a recruiter perspective, I've seen resumes on pink paper, on different colored paper. I've also had scented stationery, and that is not a value add in the recruitment process, and we do not advise that you do that. Okay, the campus interview and acing the campus interview. From a recruiter perspective, we advise that you arrive 10 minutes early, but no more than 10 minutes. Just in case there may be some quick paperwork to fill out, the recruiter may just want to spend a few minutes with you. This is one of those situations where to be on time is to be late. So just make sure that you arrive approximately 10 minutes early. Again, bring a copy of the resume along with any pre-work requested by the particular company. So a lot of firms or many companies may ask that you bring a copy of your transcript, for example, or they may ask for an application to be completed. It makes you look prepared. It makes you stand out that you would bring those items as requested to the interview. Obviously, know the job description. So not only know that you're interviewing for audit or tax or for cost accounting or wherever your focus is, but understand the job description. Prepare questions around the job description so that you can ask your interviewer particular questions about the job based on your knowledge of the job description. The next bullet, you may say, well, what do you mean know my resume? Well, you want to make sure that you're prepared with examples and with experiences that you can build on based off of your own resume. So if a recruiter says to you, well, Lizzie, I see that you interned at XYZ company and you did this particular project. Tell me more about it. Understand what you are going to say in advance if that question were to come up, and have a few examples prepared. Prepare, but don't over-prepare. From a recruiter perspective, the interview needs to flow like a conversation with an acquaintance, maybe not a close friend. But you don't want to come across as being rehearsed or canned. Okay, so you don't want to have very canned answers to questions. And I think that would be really hard to do, actually, in many cases, because a lot of the questions vary, obviously, from company to company. But you just want to make sure that you appear confident and actually very natural in your presentation. Jeff, is there something showing up on the screen now?
Yeah, there is. That's on your screen. If you want to just scroll the mouse and exit that box, that'll probably do the trick. There we go. It went away on our end. Thanks.
Okay. TMI, too much information. Here's just some tips on some questions that could potentially come up in a campus interview. So an example of a question that may be a gotcha question is, what is your biggest weakness? I know personally I've been asked that question as I've gone through job interviews, and you just want to make sure that you choose, in this example, a weakness that is potentially an opportunity too, or something that you have made great strides in improving on. But that may be a question that I would encourage everyone on the call to kind of think through, because I know that question still does come up in some interview situations. And then another example I would share is a common question of, where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? And my tidbit here is just to encourage you to come up with an answer that's honest, but still very focused on the task at hand and on the company at hand. So, for example, you're interviewing with a middle market firm and Kelly asks you, well, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And your response is something to the effect of, well, I plan on going into law school in a year. Well, from a recruiter perspective, it could just raise the red flag about your commitment to the firm, your commitment to your career at that time, and you just may want to think through those types of questions that do come up in interviews, and have answers that are still relevant, still truthful, still honest, but also very focused on your current job search. And then practice, practice, practice. Many of the campuses that came up on the screen at the very beginning of the call when Jeff asked for the information, there are probably numerous opportunities either through the Career Services Center, through your School of Business, through organizations where there are mock interviews. And I would encourage everyone to take advantage of that opportunity. Even if you are very comfortable in the interview setting, it never hurts to continue to practice. And if those mock interview opportunities are not available to you, then again, leveraging that career coach, leveraging that career mentor, that career partner, and creating your own set of mock interviews and making sure that you practice. Okay, the office visit. So for those of you that may be a little bit further along in your current job search, the office visit is very different from the campus visit, especially for those of you that are interviewing on campuses but conducting an office visit, for example, in another town or another city. So you're meeting different representatives for the first time. It's actually a new connection point for you with your particular firm or company. The first thing from a recruiter perspective that we encourage you to do is to double check any school or family commitments before scheduling your office visit. It can, on some level, make you look unorganized or not appropriately scheduled if you have to reschedule your office visit on multiple occasions. So many of, and I'll speak from an accounting firm perspective, many of the firms have office visits generally around the same time in the different semesters. So there will be a block of time that you may need to actually, block out a couple of days or a few days for office visits. And you just want to make sure that you're making those commitments, having already checked your personal and school commitments. A tip is that targeting the earliest available dates gives you an opportunity to get in front of companies very early on in the process, and also just from the perspective of an advantage to you, it allows you the chance to get through the process earlier and give you more time on the tail end to process any offer decisions and come to a conclusion after your successful office visit time period. For those of you that may be interviewing with multiple companies in the same city during the same time period, it is okay with many of the recruiters to coordinate multiple visits. I know, for example, Kelly, who's in here with me, she has coordinated office visits with someone, a candidate that's coming in to meet with our firm and another firm. So if you have that transparency in the recruitment process, we can help you coordinate that schedule and make it less stressful for you. You want to understand the agenda of the office visit in advance. As I stated previously, this is the opportunity where many firms are sharing with you their personality, their culture, and also showcasing their opportunities, their training, etc. But before you go to the office visit, just have a brief call or chat with the recruiter via email and just understand, is there an opportunity for a panel discussion? If your office visit host offers a panel discussion, well, I think a way that you stand out is come prepared with a panel question, but understanding who's on the panel, what's the topic of the panel discussion, and that gives you a little leg up over your peers if you're asking those types of questions. Understand if there's a dinner the evening before the event and the attire for that event. And then obviously just from a scheduling perspective, is this an all-day office visit? Is it half a day? And just understanding that. And then as for questions, and I know I'm noting it here on the office visit slide, and it also applies to campus interviews as well. You want to come prepared with some questions that help you in your long-term decision. But you need to come across as having very thoughtful questions and questions that really connect with you, okay? Questions that make it look like you've done a lot of research on your particular job search. So you don't want to just come with standard questions like, I'll just throw out one that I've probably heard so many times throughout my career. What's your training program like? And while, again, that's very important, maybe there's a different way that you can state that question, or maybe that's one of a couple of questions that you want to ask. As a recruiter, I look at the questions and use them as an opportunity to get to know the candidate better. But if you're asking me the same questions that I've just heard multiple times in that same day, I don't have necessarily an ability to distinguish you throughout the question and answer segment of an interview. Okay, Jeff, we have another survey question.
Here we go. All right, select one. Is it okay to text a recruiter? All right, so 60% are in, and the wisdom of crowds is suggesting no. We've got about 83% of the respondents saying no.
Okay, actually the answer on this one is it depends. And what do I mean by that? Kelly communicates quite frequently with recruits via text, but it's really more for the quick answer of maybe there's a campus event and as a candidate you just have a final question or a quick touch point. It's appropriate in that case to text your recruiter, especially after you've already built the relationship with that person. But in other instances, like you want to follow up on your offer status or your offer being extended, etc., definitely a text is not appropriate in that point. So I guess in summary, let's just say that as it relates to texting, there is context here that there is a relationship, there's already a contact that's being made, and that it's a quick question that the recruiter can answer for you via text. So it depends, and when in doubt, don't text, send an email. Okay, 1 second, we're going to move forward. Okay. The small things may not be so small, okay? Sorry about that. Okay, so let's just stick with the texting point and let's talk about cell phone usage too. Your cell phone is probably not the key way to communicate during the recruitment process. It's really more of emails and quite honestly, to some extent, still phone calls, okay? So a suggestion from our team of recruiters is it is appropriate to send an email after career fairs to representatives that you've met for a particular company. So this helps the recruiter understand what your initial interest may be in a particular company. We still encourage thank you notes, so like handwritten thank you notes after campus and office interviews. Another point, and this is all based on things that we have seen through the recruitment process. A lot of the firms host big social events, big gatherings, and we want to make sure that you understand that you are not to bring a guest to a recruitment event unless the invitation is extended by the recruiter. So that may seem very basic, but we have seen that, and we strongly discourage that unless you've cleared it with the recruiter. And keep in mind that attire matters throughout this entire process. For interviews, we strongly encourage that you wear a suit for interviews. Okay, so unless clearly stated and strongly advocated by a particular company, we think that it's best for you to err on the side of wearing suits. But then for some of the campus events, some of the, actually the office visit events, so the dinner the night before, etc., business attire is appropriate unless there's like an activity event. So maybe a company is taking you to the baseball park to see a game, etc. I'm sure the recruiter would communicate whether jeans or casual attire would be appropriate. And then remember that manners count too. So what do I mean here? Well, if you need a quick refresher, for example, on maybe etiquette in terms of at a business dinner or a lunch dinner, don't be afraid to ask for that type of assistance. And again, this may be an opportunity where your Career Services Center could be of assistance. But because there is so much in this process in terms of activities that are built around meals, if you're not sure if your etiquette over a meal is appropriate, or again, you need a refresher, we strongly encourage you to do that. We wouldn't want anyone in the CollegeFrog community to be remembered for having poor dining etiquette at a recruitment event. So that may be one that's a little bit more personal, hits close to home, but we strongly encourage that you reach out for help on that one. Second to the last bullet, congratulations, you have received an offer. Whenever a company extends you an offer, even if you're not in a position to accept at that particular time, we strongly encourage that you acknowledge the offer and thank the recruiter or the partner or the managing director that extended the offer for the offer, and let them know where you are in the decision process. Do you need a couple more weeks? Are you taking a month, etc.? Just having that communication makes you look very professional and keeps you top of mind with the recruiter. In terms of declining an offer, it's very important here that there's no radio silence. Even if you have decided not to accept an offer with a particular firm, keep in mind the number of people that have invested time into this process with you over the number of weeks or maybe extending into months. And while it may not be the most comfortable phone call to have, we do encourage that you would call the recruiter and decline the offer by phone. And just keep in mind here that there's an opportunity not to burn a bridge, but to actually build one. Many recruiters will tell you that declining the offer, while they may be disappointed, they would also look at the way that you handled it and maybe determine if you were someone that they wanted to keep in their network to reach out to in a couple of years, see where you are in your career, and maybe revisit the discussion in the future. So we just want to make sure you're going into the process looking like a champ and coming out of it looking like a champ as well. Okay, so CollegeFrog community. Next steps, assess where you are in the job search process. You want to create an action plan and move forward with excitement and enjoy the journey. Okay, so for those of you that have stayed on the call the entire time, we want to extend a special opportunity for all webinar participants that are still on, and that the recruitment team here at UHY will review your resume and provide you with feedback. Jeff, do you have particular instructions on how they should submit their resumes for review?
Sure, Yvonne. It actually depends on you. Do you prefer Word or PDF, or you don't care?
We don't care.
Okay, then. So what we'll do is if you on the call can like us on Facebook, then we will post the coach's email tonight, and that you can come back whenever you want to find that email on our Facebook page. You can email the career coach Yvonne and her team with a Word or PDF copy of your resume, and they will review your resume and respond back to you with some suggested fixes. So first of all, Yvonne, that is totally awesome that you guys would do that. Thank you for caring enough to do that. And if you're on the call, I would highly recommend you take advantage of that. So that's exciting. So we'll post that tonight, and that's it. Just send Yvonne an email, and copy or attach that resume, and they'll get back to you.
Well, and Jeff, I know that we ran a few minutes over, but Kelly has been typing throughout this entire call, and I think we got most of the questions answered, but we can definitely hang on the line, and if any participant didn't get an answer to a question, Jeff, we're willing to stay on for a few more minutes and continue answering. But again, everyone, we thank you for the time, and Jeff, we thank you for the opportunity to be the CollegeFrog career coach.
We appreciate you so much for what you're doing, for your passion for helping students understand their career options. That's what we're all about, and that's what's so great about UHY and Yvonne and your team and Kelly. You guys do the same thing. There's a lot of questions that came in. There's a couple more I'll still assign to Kelly. I know Kelly's fingers are probably going to be sore. Maybe we'll send her some aspirin or something after the call. But thanks, Kelly, for answering all the questions. If you didn't get your question answered, you can stick around online, and we'll try to get to the question over the next few minutes. Be sure to go to the Facebook page, like I mentioned, and like CollegeFrog, and we'll post that later tonight. Yvonne, thank you for taking the time to build this presentation and deliver it, and then all the help that you're providing the CollegeFrog students this weekend and next week. We appreciate everything that you have done, and this was an outstanding presentation. It's probably the most questions I think we've ever had on a presentation. So people are hungry for this kind of advice, so you did a fantastic job. Yvonne, I'm going to wrap things up and close it, but was there any last points that you wanted to wrap with?
Well, the last thing I'd like to say, Jeff, is that the UHY team is really excited about our partnership with CollegeFrog, and we just encourage everyone to stay tuned for our Career Coach blog and for future webinars that we look forward to holding in the near future.
I was going to say the exact same thing. You took the words out of my mouth, Yvonne. Look forward to some exciting new developments from CollegeFrog and UHY, all built to help you identify and land that job. So stick around on the webinar if you haven't answered a question. We're going to end the phone presentation, but the web part of it will still be online. So with that, we'll sign off. Thank you to everyone for participating in National Meet the Firms Week. We appreciate everybody's interest and in participation. Have a great weekend. Take care. Bye now.